Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review, swatches, and tutorial on the new Jeffree Star Cosmetics Beauty Killer palette, as well as two of the Skin Frost highlighters. So the look that I have on today, I did do using the Beauty Killer palette, and I do have on the highlighters. So if you want to see the tutorial on this look, just stick around until the end of the video. But I do want to get into the swatches and the review portion first. So when I ordered the palette, I did also order two of the highlighters as well, and I just want to show you the unboxing that I did of the package so I can show you how it all looked packaged together. I honestly was really impressed with how Jeffree Star Cosmetics had packaged everything. It was very nicely packaged. Everything was individually wrapped in bubble wrap, and then there was another layer of bubble wrap on the bottom and on the top, so I was very impressed. It also was just very cute. Everything was wrapped in pink and gold tissue paper with a little Jeffree Star Cosmetics sticker on it. I was a little bit concerned about the highlighters because there were some complaints that people had received their highlighters broken. So I definitely wanted to include me unboxing it just to show you how it was all packaged, and if something was broken you would be able to see that in the unboxing. But I was lucky enough that none of my stuff was damaged or broken in shipping. The reason why a lot of people received broken highlighters is just because of the formula of their highlighters themselves. They are very soft, and it even does say it on the website that the highlighters have a very soft buttery formula, making them very delicate and to handle them with care. And from what I hear, the customer service on that issue is really good, and they're doing a good job of getting people's highlighters replaced that did receive them broken. So first I'll go ahead and talk about the Beauty Killer palette because this is the one that more recently released and that I'm more excited to talk about. Just a little information about it. This palette does retail for $45. You can get it at JeffreeStarCosmetics.com. That's where I got it from. I do believe it was available on a couple of different sites also. But there are 10 eyeshadows in this palette, and there are 3 different formulations of eyeshadows in this palette. There are mattes, frost, and glitter shades. I did have that written down. And this palette is vegan and cruelty free, if that's something that's important to you. This palette does have 0.09 ounces worth of product in it, which is equivalent to a Lorac Pro palette, which the Lorac Pro palettes retail for $44, so very similar if you just wanted a comparison. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open up the palette and show you guys the colors. So when you first open up your palette, you'll see there is a big mirror, which I do really like, and I always like to see that in a palette. It's really convenient. And then you see all the colors here. So again, there's 3 formulas. There are mattes, frost, and glitter shades. And there is a pretty good amount of neutrals and colorful shades. For there being 10 shades in the palette, I feel that it is a really good mixture. Some people may be put off by the colors or think that they're not, some of them are not wearable, but those people I would recommend to wear like some of the brighter colors, maybe as just a pop of color. Really the only 2 colors that I would say are out there are just these 2 colors, and when you take that off, it's just, you know, it kind of looks like a neutral color. I mean, there is a gold in there, which you see gold in a lot of neutral palettes. Purple, which you see purple in a lot of different palettes. It's not really so much of an out there color. There's this beautiful like rusty shade. So personally, I do think there is a good variety of wearable colors and brighter colors. So let me go ahead and do the swatches for you. I'm going to start off with the first shade in the palette. This shade is a bright matte pink, and it's called Star Power. So I'm going to go ahead and do a swatch for myself. I think I'm going to include a up close swatch for you also, because this shade was one of the shades that I did use in the look on my eyes today, so I did get to see how it performed. But this shade is very pretty. It's very pigmented. It's not powdery at all. It didn't kick up a lot of product when I put my brush in it, so I personally really like that because I can sometimes be bothered by that because it gets kind of messy. But I didn't have that problem with this eyeshadow at all. I heard somebody complain about the blendability of the matte colors. They were working with this color and I think this color, and personally I did not have an issue blending this color out on my lid, so maybe it was the primer that person used, or maybe it could have been this color here because I did not use that color on my eyes today. The next color is called Princess, and to me this looks like a pinkish, a very light pinkish lavender-ish color, and this one I did not use either, so let me go ahead and swatch that one. This will be my first time swatching this one. So this color I believe is the Frost formula, and I do like it. I can see myself wearing this color in the inner corner of my eye as a tear duct highlight, or even on the lid. That I think it would look really pretty with like a purple look if you put this on the lid and maybe like a deeper purple in the crease, because personally when I swatch it on my skin it is pulling more on the lavender side as opposed to the pink side. So that's kind of how I would wear that shade. The next shade over is called Violence, and this is a beautiful purple shade, and I think it leans a little bit on the plum side, but let me go ahead and swatch that one. So this is a beautiful purple shade, and this shade is one of the Frost formulations. This shade is very pretty. It does have a little bit of like a blue, like a bluish duochrome to it, just ever so slightly, not as much as something like a Stars and Rockets from MAC, or the Melt Cosmetics shade, I can't remember the name of it, but it's not as intense as that, but it is there, which is really nice. So if you wanted something that was a little bit more subtle. When I swatch it on my skin, it does tend to go a little bit more on the plum, like pinkish plum side than it looks in the pan. So of course that color, or all these colors, will not look the same on all skin tones. The next shade over is called Rich Bitch, and I do not like the B word. I do cuss a lot actually, but I don't really like that word. To me, I feel like it's a derogatory word towards women. I just don't like using it. That word, the B word and the N word, are two curse words I don't like. For those words to come out of my mouth is like, ugh, like it gives me like the creeps. But yeah, so it's called Rich B, and it is a beautiful, beautiful gold color, and this color I did use in the look on my eyes today, and I really like it. Let me go ahead and swatch that one. So this shade is just gorgeous. This is one of the glitter finishes, I'm assuming. It's actually like a cross between a glitter and a frost, so I'm not sure how they categorize it, but it is definitely a little bit different than the other frost in the palette. It's definitely a lot more glittery, but it's a beautiful shade. When I used it today, I did foil it, meaning I wet my brush and applied it with Fix Plus, but in the swatch I just did on my arm, I did not do that, and it still just came out just as pigmented. Someone said that they didn't like the texture of it. It was kind of on the chunkier side. I did not have a problem when I worked with it today with my eyeshadow look, but it does kick up a little bit more product than the other colors that I used when you put your brush into it, but it did not bother me at all. I did not find that it transferred onto my eyes that way, and there was not a lot of fallout. I definitely made sure to tap my brush off, and the fact that I foiled my eyeshadow probably made a difference in that department also. So the next shade in the palette is called Courtney, and Courtney is a matte shade, and Courtney is a, I would describe it as like a transition color. I think on me it would not be a transition color, but if you're in the medium to light range, this would be a beautiful transition color for you. Let me just go ahead and swatch it because this one I did not work with today, so I have not yet swatched this color. On my arm, it does look like I could probably use it as a transition, but not the standard transition that I would use. It's just a little bit lighter than that. Maybe in between my brow bone color and my transition, like my standard transition, I could see myself using it maybe to blend that out to get a really nice fade. And on my skin tone, it is coming up a little bit on the peachy side. So again, these colors will look different on all skin tones, but on me it is pulling a little bit peachy. So down to the second row in the palette, the next shade is called Expensive. This shade obviously I did not use on my eyes today. This will be my first time swatching it, but it is a bluish teal color, and this is one of the glitter formulas. So let me go ahead and swatch that. I'm noticing when I'm swatching it that a lot of the glitter did not transfer onto my arm. and it is a little bit on the powdery side, more powdery, like similar to the Rich B color. It kind of felt like that when I put my hand into it, so it just kicked up a little bit more product. Again, not really a huge deal. I didn't have a problem with that one, so I don't think I would have a huge problem with that one when I use it. But nonetheless, it's a really pretty color. I can see myself using this a lot on my lower lash line, and that's what I would recommend doing if you're not really someone who's comfortable working with a bluish color like that. So yeah. So the next color is called Confession, and this is a really pretty rust color, and this color I did use on my eye look today, and I really like it. It blended out very nicely. Let me just go ahead and swatch this color for you. And this, wow, that swatch is so beautiful. This color is a Frost. I could not think of the name of it. This color is a Frost formula, and it's so beautiful. I could see me wearing this. I didn't put it on my lid obviously today. Well, I did put it on a little bit on my outer corner, but I could see me wearing this even all over the lid. It's just so pretty, and it kind of does scream fall to me, so I can definitely see myself wearing this in the fall time. Gorgeous color, probably one of my favorites out of the whole palette. The next color in the palette is called Vanity, and Vanity is a really dark, deepened plum brown gray is how I would personally describe it. And this is also a matte shade, and this shade I did use in my eye look today. This one is, I would say, just a little bit harder to blend out than some of the other shades I work with, but that could also be due to the pigment in it and it just being such a rich color. The next shade in the palette is called China White, and this is a matte color. This one I did use today in the look, and I use this as my brow bone highlight, and I really like it. It's a, I would describe as a bone color, so it's not quite white. It's like a off-white or a bone color. So there's a little bit of a warmish undertone in there. So this color I would say is a little bit sheerer than some of the other colors that I swatched in the palette. But I think that's a good thing, using this personally for me, using this as a brow bone highlight. I would not want that shade to be full on pigment, just because it would, I think, be a little bit too much, too over the top. Like, I wouldn't use a pure white pigment as a highlight. So I personally like that. I also liked using this shade to kind of blend out the edges of some of the other colors that I worked with, so I think it works really well for that purpose. And with it being a little bit sheer, I think it definitely it works. So the last shade in the palette is called Black Rainbow, and I did accidentally put my nail into that color, but I did not work with this shade today in my look, but I'm really itching to try this one, just because when I did stick my nail in it, I could see how beautiful and rich and pigmented this color was. So let me go ahead and do a real swatch for you. So the Black Rainbow shade is one of the glitter formulas in the palette, and now that I'm looking at the swatch, from what I would say, it's a really dark, rich black, matte black base with a lot of different multi-colored glitter in the black, and I think it's a really pretty and unique shade, and I'm really looking forward to working with it. It didn't really kick up a lot of product, so yeah, I'm happy about that, because when you're working with a black, you don't want a little black flecks all around on your face and on your eyes. I've dealt with it before, and it's quite a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's all the shades in the palette, and my overall review on it is positive. I do really like it. It's not like any other palette that I have, so it definitely works well in my collection. So I would say if you're interested in it, definitely go for it. Like I said, last time I checked, it was in stock on the website. Just another note, I didn't say it before, but Jeffree Star does do free shipping over $100. So if you just get this palette, you will have to pay for the shipping, which is $5.95. If you are within the US, I'm in the US, I'm not sure about international rates. So just keep that in mind. I did not have to pay shipping when I ordered mine, because I did order 2 of the highlighters, so my order was over $100. So we'll get into the highlighters. So next are the Skin Frost highlighters, and I do have 2 of the shades. The shades that I got are King Tut and Peach Goddess. Just like the eyeshadow palette, they do come in this cardboard package. which has some information and ingredients on the back. These highlights retail for $29, and they are very, very large compared to many of the other highlighters. Many of the other highlighters out there. These have 15 grams of product, and just to compare to like the size of a Becca highlighter, like a, what is this? This is my Becca Opal highlighter. So just to compare size wise, you can see like how much larger these pans are. This is about double the size in ounces of the Becca highlighter, and the Becca highlighters retail for $38, just for a comparison on that. But these are the two shades. I'll go ahead and show you here. Do an up close for you of the colors in the pans. That's the two colors side by side. So here is King Tut and here is Peach Goddess. And by the way, these highlighters are vegan, cruelty-free, paraben-free, and talc-free as well. And I did use both of these highlighters in the look that I did today. I first put down King Tut and then I went over it with Peach Goddess. I saw a picture on Jeffree Star's Instagram where he showed a swatch of these two colors combined, and I thought I'd try that out today. And I do like the overall look of it. So let me start off by talking about the shade King Tut. So King Tut I would describe as a beautiful bronzy gold color. Definitely beautiful for the summertime. Let me just do a little swatch for you. Now the swatch result of this highlighter is absolutely gorgeous. It's very, very beautiful. When I go into it with my finger and I put it on, it is a little bit on the chunky side, but once I go over it like this with my finger and kind of rub it out, it's absolutely gorgeous. So just something to bear in mind. It's just the nature of the formulation of the product. It's very like soft. Yeah, just keep that in mind. I did notice when I put my brush into it, I used the Anastasia highlighting brush. I was trying to look for it, but I can't find it. When I put my brush into it and then I tapped off, a lot of the product came off. So it's very like, I don't know, I can't think of the term right now, but it's not like really compact. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, when I put my brush into it and tapped it off, like a lot of the product came off, so I found myself like dipping back and dipping back. So also just something to keep in mind. One reviewer mentioned that it kind of highlighted or brought out texture in their skin, so you could see like it emphasized the texture of their skin, and you could see like their pores and, you know, just the texture. And I do think it does that just a little bit, but I also think that most highlighters do that also. And if you're concerned about that, what I recommend doing is taking something like a Benefit Professional and kind of dabbing or patting that into the area where you're going to be highlighting, and then put the highlighter on top just to kind of give it a smooth surface and prevent that. But the overall look of the highlighter I do really like, and I think it's really beautiful and gorgeous. And I don't have a color that is quite exact to this color. Actually, while I have it in front of me, I'm just going to take my Becca Opal and I'm going to swatch that in between this, or next to this shade, and then I'll take the other shade and put it on the other side so that opal's in between. So yeah, I think that this is one of my favorite highlighters, but I can see like when you swatch them, the Jeffree Star highlighter, the King Tut, is a lot more like metallic looking, and it looks a lot more pigmented than my opal highlighter, which could be a good or bad thing just depending on what look you're going for. Some people don't like that really metallic, strong highlighted look. Some people like it to look a little bit more natural. So if you don't like that highlighted look, then these highlighters may not be for you. I personally do. I like both, but I like the highlighted look. So yeah, I can appreciate both of them, but if you're someone that doesn't like that metallic strong highlight look, then you may want to pass up on these. But that's the shade King Tut. And then the next shade is Peach Goddess. So it's a little bit more on the, of course, peachy side. So it has like a peachy pinky undertone on it, and these are the two shades out of the lineup that I would recommend for someone that's like my skin tone and darker. I wouldn't really recommend, and nor did Jeffree when he did his video, recommend the other two shades for deeper complexions. He actually had his, I'm not sure what she is to him, but she's like a friend, and then she works with him as well. But she's a deeper complected woman. She's darker than me, and he demoed these two colors on her, and then he demoed on himself the ice cold and mint condition. So the other two shades, one is like a very light pearly icy white highlight, that's ice cold, and then the other one is a like mint green highlight, and that's mint condition. So I personally agree with Jeffree on that these two are more, I would say, for medium to deep skin tones. And if you're lighter, if you're really fair, I do see that these could work for you also, maybe more as a blush topper or like a bronzer type thing. But anywho, let me go ahead and swatch the Peach Goddess shade. So same thing happens with the Peach Goddess shade. When I went into it with my finger and then I put it initially on my hand, there were like some chunks in the product, but then when I smoothed over with my finger like this, it blended it perfectly out and it smoothed out. The Peach Goddess shade is very, very gorgeous. I would say it's personally, on me, it's looking more on the pinkish side than on the peach side, but that's fine. Again, I don't really have anything like this, so I'm really happy to have it, and the way that it layered with King Tut, I really like the look that it gave. But just seeing these two shades again with that Becca Opal in the middle, I can definitely see these are more of a bam highlight. So again, just be prepared when you get these babies. They are going to be extreme pigment, a lot of pigment. So that's pretty much my complete review and thoughts on these products. I will put a link down below for you in the description if you're interested in checking them out. And then if you're interested in this look, which I did use the highlight today, and then I used about 4 or 5 of the I think 5 of the eyeshadows on my eyes with this look. If you're interested in seeing this eye look, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I got this eye look today using the palette. First, I'm going to be taking the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in the shade Eden, and I'm going to place that on my lid and then blend that out with a fluffy synthetic blending brush. Then I'm going to be going into the shade China White with a flat shader brush, and I'm going to apply that as my brow bone highlight. Then I'm going into the shade Star Power with a fluffy crease brush, and I'm going to blend that into my crease. I'm going to take a little bit more of that color and blend that into my direct crease. Next, I'm going to go into the shade Confession with a tapered crease brush and blend that more into my direct crease. And then I'm just going to take a blending brush without product and blend the edges. And next I'm going to go into the shade Vanity and mix that with a little bit of Confession and put that on my outer corner and crease. I'm gonna dip back into the Star Power color a little bit and just blend over to bring back a little bit more of the pink into my upper crease. And then I'm also going to just take my brush and blend over the whole thing. Next, I'm going to be taking Rich Bitch on this flat synthetic brush, and I'm going to apply that on my lid. And I'm going to just spray the brush first with a little bit of Fix Plus. I'm also going to take that into the inner tear duct area of my eye and on the inner lower lash line. Then I'm just going to take a little bit more of the Confession color, and I'm going to apply that on the outer third of my lid over top of the gold color. Then I'm going to work on the lower lash line. So I'm going to go back into the Star Power color with a, what is this called? Pencil brush. And I'm going to apply that to my lower lash line. Then on a little bit finer tipped pencil brush, I'm going to go back into the Confession shade and just apply that a little bit closer to the actual lash line, but over top of the Star Power color. Then on a really fine detail brush, I'm going to go into the shade Vanity, and I'm going to apply that directly on my lash line. Then I'm going to take this black gel liner from Inglot's, the number 77, and I'm going to take a really fine tipped liner brush, and I'm going to do a thin winged liner. Sorry guys, but it got real fast and I thought I was gonna mess up my liner, so I may have not gotten all that in the frame, but you see it's just a basic winged liner, and I didn't do it too far out or dramatic, just kind of on the thinner side. So the lashes that I'm going to be using today are Mink lashes, and these are my favorite brand of Mink lashes. I think I mentioned these in my last tutorial, but these are from Eyewear Lash Co. These are in the style Plush, but I love their eyelashes. I have a couple different pairs that I like to rotate between. They are, of course, Mink lashes, so they're a little bit on the pricier side, but I do have a discount code for you below in the description. So that's the completed look with the highlighters and the eyeshadow. So that completes my review, swatch, and tutorial video on the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Beauty Killer Palette and Skin Frost Highlighters. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video.
Summer nights, I stare at the satellite, and I wonder why I